Hello everyone and welcome to our next video in the Certification to Success series brought to you by the Circle of Friends. This episode is all about finding your inner superhero. And what we mean by that is we want to show you how you as an advisor or as an accountant who's going into advisory can really supercharge and superpower your client's future. So a lot of us just go through the process of doing bookkeeping and, getting out the bank reconciliations and, leave it at that. But there's a lot more that we could be doing to not only help our business, but our clients' growth. And when you think about it, if your clients and your small businesses and your practice are growing, you're growing the economy. You're doing a lot of superhero work out there. So we want to give you some tips today on how to superpower yourself, find your own superhero. It's not that hard to add advisory to your practice. We're just going to try to make it a little simpler. I'm also talking to another set of viewers today, and these are people who are already doing advisory, but maybe in a desktop edition of QuickBooks, maybe Enterprise, something like that. And you may not have the confidence that anything QuickBooks Online has the power to produce those kind of reports that you're getting out of advanced reporting in QuickBooks Enterprise. So what I want to do is give you some confidence and show you your superpower in the cloud-based options that are there for reporting. So let me get you started. The first thing is we want to talk to the newbies here as well about those initial conversations with the client. What is advisory? How do I get started? And we're going to take the mystery out of all of that. So let's go on to our next slide and introduce myself. My name is Erin Walsh-Dyer. My company is the Bookkeeper's Friend. We are a cloud-based bookkeeping service and were for many years. And then I switched the practice into coaching and advising setups and fixes. We also are a QuickBooks solution provider, which means we resell Intuit products for, we get commissions and things like that, which is kind of cool. And I also founded the Circle of Friends with a group of other pro advisors. And the reason the idea came to fruition was I moved our practice from desktop to online maybe a decade ago, and I had to guess my way through the process. And I made a lot of mistakes. I probably could have done it quicker and faster if I had somebody to talk to. So that's what the Circle of Friends is all about. It's a group of people, pro advisors, people who are moving to the cloud. We support both desktop and online, but we just kind of need people to have that water cooler conversation with when a question comes up. So that's what the Circle of Friends is about. And within the Circle of Friends is our Certification to Success series, which you are attending one of the episodes. We want to fast track you getting to the cloud and being successful. So that's all about me. There's our website, and these are click-throughs also if you need to get access to any of this other information. So let's move on. Let's talk about the power of advisory. So like I said, I know a lot of you are beloved QuickBooks Enterprise users, and you just don't have the confidence that QuickBooks Online or anything cloud could do even a fraction of what that advanced reporting module does in Enterprise. But I have to say, if you are an advanced reporting user in Enterprise, you pretty much have a PhD in that. That is that's a tough program to learn and master. And if you're one of those people, you're amazing. You already got a superpower right there. But I want to show advanced reporting users that some things can be done in the cloud. You don't have to stick with Enterprise for your clients, especially if your clients are looking to move to the cloud, and maybe QuickBooks Online Advanced might be a fit for them. So I want to have you start considering your liberation from desktop to online. And for those of you new to advisory, we're going to hope to wow you too with some interesting information. So let's get started. Knowledge is power. So Sir Francis Bacon coined this phrase way back in like 1597, something like that. He actually said knowledge itself is power. But what he was trying to say is sharing knowledge is the cornerstone of your reputation, your influence, and therefore is power. So your knowledge is your power. And all achievements emanate from this. So for me, I've taken this phrase and decided that reporting is knowledge, right? Because all that bookkeeping and accounting we do ends up being reports, which it delivers knowledge. So therefore, reporting is power. And that is our power. That is your power. This is your superpower. And so the thing is, what's holding us back from leveraging this knowledge that we have? Well, sometimes some of us have different reasons. Maybe there's roadblocks that maybe you just don't know what to do next. What's the next step? So what I'm going to try today is to get you past some of those. So the first people I'm going to talk to are the people who are new to this whole advisory idea. So let's tap into your superhero. It's hidden. So you're new to advisory. You want to do it, but you don't know where to start, or maybe you don't even know what I'm talking about when I say advisory. So if you are new, you're not alone. There's a lot of accountants and bookkeepers out there who are just crunching the numbers, closing the books, and not really interpreting what's going on. So what is advisory? It's taking the knowledge you already have, which in our case is reports, and using those reports as tools to interpret what is going on in your client's business. So we want to read the reports and understand them, and then be able to tell our clients what's going on. And it is difficult to know the first steps when you are going to move into advisory. So what we're going to do in this session is get you some confidence so you can build off those reports and give advice on those deliverables, and then we'll take the mystery out of it for you today. So what I'm going to do is get you some resources, things like what are the best set of reports I can deliver every month, how do I have these monthly conversations with my clients, and then also what digital applications are best suited if I'm just getting started in advisory. So that's for my newbies here. Let's talk to the people who are experienced advisors. So I'm assuming you probably are already doing advisory. Maybe you've been using QuickBooks Desktop and Enterprise for years, if not decades, like I've been in Desktop for a long time, or I was. Anyway, you guys maybe already be doing advisory, and you just don't have confidence that what is in the cloud or what's in QuickBooks Online has any remote resemblance to what you can get accomplished in Enterprise. So you strong enterprise users, let's see if we can get you information about how maybe QuickBooks Online can do the same job. And if QuickBooks Online can't, maybe an app. So first of all, we're going to talk about what QuickBooks Online features actually mimic enterprise reporting and data sync tools. And then we're going to, you might have the question, can I create reports that I have an enterprise in QuickBooks Online? Well, we're going to try and solve that mystery for you as well. You may not have had the time to do this investigation. And then which reporting applications are best suited for experienced advisors? So there's a lot of apps out there that do reporting. Some of them are kind of plug and play, great for brand new reporting features if you just want to plug in and start. But then there's other people who really need the ability to customize for their client. So some apps are better for the customization. So we'll talk about that. So no matter where you're starting from, you have to have the confidence in what you're delivering. So my first advice for those of you, especially who are new, the most powerful way to deliver to your client once you have these reports done is let the report be the messenger. All you're doing is just displaying it and interpreting what's on there. Let the report do the talking for you. And then after you've explained the report to the client, then you can start answering their questions. And from there, you could take it a little bit more into a conversation about, hey, what should we do to make this better, or whatever the issue is that came up. But let the report do the talking for you, so you don't have to feel like it's all on you. And then just start answering questions. So let's talk about that conversation and how to get that going. So let's see how we can base that first conversation. So I said, let the report be the messenger. Well, the question is, your client may not even know what they're asking or what questions they have. So let's look through the top 10 client requested reports. Okay. So advisory is easy once you know what the clients are looking for. Next is the top 10, and you can also create specific reports for your clients if they have something else other than these top 10 that they need information on, that something's going on in their business. You can create custom reports to put in your report packages as well. So let's talk about the top 10 first. All right. It's a bit of a word wall, but let's go through them. First one, the client's going to ask, who owes me money? And the report you're going to be pulling is an accounts receivable aging report. So this will kind of tell them who currently owes them money, how old those balances are. And it's also going to be like a quick list of who to be contacting first about all those outstanding invoices. The next one are, who are my top customers? This is going to be answered by the sales by customer reports. There's both a summary or a detailed report you could try pulling, but either way, you're going to get the client's customers and how much income they've generated to the client's business. And so this is a really good way to identify buying trends. Who are the top buyers? What are they buying? Are there any other customers that are buying the same stuff? Maybe we can start leveraging that and promoting some of those products that these top customers are purchasing. The next one is, what are my top and my worst selling products and or services? So this one's really important because you don't want to keep trying to sell something that's not going off the shelves, right? So identify, hey, this one's really, selling really fast and good. Maybe we should get more of that or offer more spins on whatever that product or service is. And the things that just aren't picking up, if they're a product themselves, sell them out, have a special, get some money in, sell them out, and then start bringing in things that are selling. So really important to look at those top and worst sellers. The next one is, how much do I owe my vendors? So this is pretty important. If the client is looking at their cash balance and they see they have a lot of bills, they want to be able to prioritize who gets paid first, second, or third. So I have some clients who like to pay their bills twice a month. So we run the accounts payable aging report, so they can prioritize who gets paid first during those 2 payment days of the month. The next one, how much money did I make? This one is the profit and loss statement. Basically, it's showing all the income for a certain period of time, all the costs, all the overhead, and then what's left. So there should be a bottom line. They call it the bottom line, and that's how much they made during whatever period you're looking at. So when you're looking at the profit and loss, if there is a loss at the bottom line, you might want to look through all those line items on expenditures and say, hey, you spent an awful lot on your cell phone bill this month. What happened? How can we fix that and make sure that doesn't happen again? So it's a way to strategize with the client based on what they're bringing in and what they're spending. The next one is, can I afford money? Can I afford to spend money? Excuse me. And you can pull the balance sheet to figure this out, because what this is showing, especially at the top, is how much cash is in the bank, right? And then right below that, if your client is using QuickBooks Online, they might have some money sitting in undeposited funds, meaning they just received the money, but it's pretty close to being in the bank and available. Other ways to see what's coming in or should be coming in soon is accounts receivable. Hopefully, depending on the terms that your client gives or their customers, that money's imminent, so that could be coming in pretty quick. And then you could also start looking at those current liabilities to see, how much do we have to pay on credit cards this month, and kind of get a feel for how much cash they're going to have left. Can they spend money right now and buy a big piece of equipment? You got to look at the overall balance sheet and kind of get an idea of what's available to spend, or if they can afford to get a loan, whatever that is. Okay, so that would be the balance sheet on that one. And then the next one is really interesting. I've had this one a lot. If I show a profit on my profit and loss statement, say $100,000 profit this year, why isn't there any money in my bank account? And I've had clients actually ask me that. And your answer for that one is the statement of cash flows. Sometimes, they make money. They have $100,000 that they made in net profit. However, they also paid cash for a piece of equipment that was $50,000. Well, that's not going to be on the profit and loss statement. That's a fixed asset. That's a balance sheet item. So that's where 50,000 of it went right there. Or maybe they did an owner draw and went to Disney World and spent 20 grand. I don't know. But the idea is not everything that affects cash is on the profit and loss statement. And the statement of cash flows is actually going to break that down and tell you where that other cash went, maybe paying debt, draws from the company, buying assets, whatever it is. So that's a really important one. If you're not familiar with the statement of cash flows, I suggest digging into that one a little bit. Next one is, can I predict how much money I'll have in the future? Well, we could get a crystal ball and do it, or we could pull the cash flow planner. So the cash flow planner takes historical cash flows and then uses trends in QuickBooks Online to predict future events. Additionally, you can add cash affecting events and create scenarios that can affect cash in the future. So you can kind of predict that if I did buy that piece of equipment, what's cash going to look like in a couple of weeks? Or if I decided to push out and not pay this bill for another 2 weeks, you can change, it's really cool, you can change the amount or the due date on a bill without affecting the general ledger or the books. It's just in the planner, and push that cash event out. So it's a really cool little thing. And yeah, you can predict how much money you'll have in the future. Really great tool that you should start implementing if you're going to do advisory. And then the next one is, how much have I paid a particular vendor? This report is the expenses by vendor report. It's just a list of the client's vendors, how much each client paid each vendor and during a period. This is kind of important. If a vendor calls and says, hey, you didn't pay me, this is a great way to go check that out. By the way, this is another solid reason why your clients need to put vendor names in their money out transactions. There's a lot of people who don't put that payee name in. This report would be worthless if they didn't have a payee in it. So anyway, but you can actually track what was paid. And then if your client's buying frequently from a vendor, maybe they could even negotiate better pricing if they're doing lots of purchases from them. And then my final one, top 10, is, how much is my inventory worth? This is the inventory valuation report. They show the book purchase price of all those inventory parts. So the cost is what the value of the inventory is. And it's also going to show them quantities on hand. They can see the total cost of inventory and hopefully potential profits. So what it's going to sell for, and maybe that's going to be an income event coming up if they're going to sell some stuff off. So anyway, those are the top 10. And if you look at my note at the bottom, all of these reports are standard in QuickBooks Online. Now there's an asterisk there because inventory is only in Plus and Advanced. So if your client doesn't have Plus or Advanced, they're not going to have inventory anyway. So that's a little disclaimer there. But I wanted to give you these 10 because these might be a good starting point for those of you brand new to advisory, because you could pull 4 or 5 of these and there's your monthly reporting package, and you could be answering these questions for your clients. And there is the beginning of your advisory practice. So create monthly custom reporting package for the clients. Let the reports do the talking. Meet with them, interpret what's on the report, answer their questions. That's it. You are now an advisor delivering not only powerful conversations, insights into how their business is doing, and then helping your clients thrive. So you're going to help them plan for the future. So it's easy to generate some of these deliverables in QuickBooks Online because guess what? They're automated. If you're doing the accounting and you're a powerful bookkeeper, don't keep your superpower as just a bookkeeper and closing the books and that's that. You're creating these reports in the background. Open them up, look at them, interpret them, tell them what's going on. You don't necessarily have to tell them what to do with that information, but you're at least going to advise them and say, this is what's trending, this is what's happening. Maybe we should have some conversations about this. Okay, so now that we've got the idea of how you can begin using advisory, I'm going to start talking to those people who already are doing advisory and think that maybe QuickBooks Online is not enough. So let's go ahead and talk about your digital tools, and we're going to explore some reporting and data synchronization features in QuickBooks Online. I'm not going to demo these products or these features in QuickBooks Online. However, every single one of these slides that are coming up, if you have the handout, they're clickable links to videos, and they're Intuit produced videos that actually demo the feature, so you can see if it's something you want to start playing with. So I'm giving you a 10,000 foot view of some reporting and sync features. So let's start with advanced reporting and data sync features in QuickBooks Online Advanced. So the first one I want to talk about is the custom report builder. So this one, for those of you using Enterprise, is a similar feature to the build from scratch feature in the advanced reporting module in QuickBooks Enterprise. So that's for you enterprise users. It's basically, I can take a blank slate and start adding data sets to my report. I can pull a name, I can pull a date, I can pull an amount, I can pull a general ledger account, and just start building these columns of data. From there, but what I want to point out is, generally in QuickBooks, you can do a list report and you can do a transaction report, and it's hard to merge the two, or pretty much impossible. This allows you to pull data sets from both types of reporting capabilities. So you can pull transactions, lists, aging data sets, a lot more. Then if you want to create subtotals, you do something called grouping. Then if it's got too much information, you can filter it back to however you like based on the columns. And then finally, it has a pivot table toggle where you can restructure the whole report using a pivot table, and then save it to the custom reports in QuickBooks Online Advanced. So that is the custom report builder feature. I do want to point out that this is a clickable link to an actual video on how it works. All right, the next one in QuickBooks Online Advanced is called batch transactions. So for those of you using QuickBooks Desktop, this is similar to the batch invoicing, because there is that option in desktop, and then also the import transactions with an IIF file. So this is kind of two things on one screen. First of all, this screenshot that we're looking at now allows me to fill in data and create multiple transactions on one screen instead of hitting save and new every time I want to save a transaction. I can populate it and then hit save and send if I'm going to email it, but I can do invoices, deposits, sales receipts, bills, expenses, and checks from this screen. Further, this feature allows you to batch modify invoices, just invoices at this point. And then there's also the option to import from CSV. So if you have a data set of, let's say, sales receipts in a CSV file, you can import them using this feature as well. So lots you can do on this screen. I'm not going to get into the weeds here, but click on the batch transactions I have highlighted at the top, and you can go ahead and watch a video on that. By the way, all QuickBooks Online subscriptions have the ability to import lists from CSV, not transactions, but lists. Now this screen is showing me that I can actually import transactions, and I have to have advanced for that. Okay, so this is a QuickBooks Online Advanced feature, but everybody else can still import lists like customers, vendors, products, chart of accounts. Okay, another advanced feature is spreadsheet sync. So this is another option for batch entering transactions, but this is pretty much working in Excel. This is comparable to several things in desktop. The import lists feature, obviously I could do that. Bring in transactions with IIF. It's similar to that, except I'm working in Excel instead of an IIF file, which is kind of difficult to modify. It also kind of mimics the advanced Excel import tool and the add, edit multiple list items. What does it do? Okay, so basically in this screenshot, I have connected Spreadsheet Sync, which adds a add-in to Microsoft Excel. So it's connected. And then I pull data from QuickBooks Online, make mass changes to the data, and then send it back in. So in this screenshot, I've got credit card check transactions that I want to turn into credit card transactions. So then I'm going to swipe that down on the far left. They're now credit card transactions, and then I'm going to click yes to post all of those and sync it over, and it has updated all of those transactions in QuickBooks Online Advanced. That's just one thing. There's a lot more you can do. You could just create the transactions in Excel and push them over with Spreadsheet Sync as well. Okay, so hopefully we're taking the mystery out of some of the capabilities of QuickBooks Online, especially for those of you who need data sync features. All right, my next one, let me get here. Here we go. Another QuickBooks Online Advanced Spreadsheet Sync slide here. It's just telling you other things you can do. In this case, it can also build reports. So you can pull QBO data out to Excel and do your Excel magic out there. But on this screen, we are showing you how you can do multi-company consolidations, multiple QuickBooks Online Advanced companies. Maybe there are a series of sister companies or franchises. Each have a QBO Advanced subscription, and off they go. And we are creating a group of consolidated reports You can set it and forget it, because as soon as you finish closing the books again and all those companies, just hit a button and it's going to push that same information over for the new period into the consolidated report group in Excel. So that is another thing you could do with Spreadsheet Sync. Another thing Spreadsheet Sync does, and this is really me just showing you where the toolbar is in Excel. Company settings is where you can create those groups of companies that are going to consolidate. You can build just straight reports and do, charts and graphs and things like that. And it's basically the help feature, and there is a separate support. It's not Intuit support. It's more Spreadsheet Sync report. You can get help there. But anyway, it adds a ribbon or a tab called Spreadsheet Sync and a ribbon in Excel. And this is where you're going to maintain it. All right, so now let's talk about QuickBooks Online in general. There is something called the Performance Center, which allows you to add visual charts for micro sets of data within the client's company. You can do quick add charts. There's about 10 of them there that you can choose from, or you can create a custom chart. I actually created one once. My client wanted to know how much each of his drivers was spending on fuel. So basically we took fuel expense based on the credit card, because they each had their own credit card, of a corporate credit card, and I was able to filter it and do a trend line showing each driver and how much they were spending on fuel. So that's a custom chart that I did because my client had a concern about a certain thing within his business. So I did that. And the thing about visual graphs, it makes it easier for the clients to interpret. Not everybody likes to look at rows and columns of numbers. So this makes it really nice. You can do unique ones for your clients. Deliver some powerful information, and these auto-populate as the bank feeds are clearing, etc. These are just happening once you set these up. You can also add industry benchmarks to this. So basically what you do in QuickBooks Online is say, my client is in the landscaping industry. Well, basically the industry benchmark feature in the charts goes to a 30-mile radius, anybody who's using QuickBooks Online who is in the landscaping business. And it's basically going to bring in information from their books, not tell me who they are, but it's going to say in your area, people in your business are doing X amount in revenue or spending X amount in cost of goods sold. So they can benchmark themselves against their peers. So anyway, accounting users have access to the Performance Center for all QuickBooks Online subscriptions. So you guys all have this. However, in QuickBooks Online Advanced, admin users and reporting users can also have access to the Performance Center. So it's usually just accountants, but QuickBooks Advanced users do have access. All right, management reports. This is another feature, and my slide is really bad, but I'll just tell you what it is. Basically, you can create a report package. So all those things I was just talking about can be added to what they call management reports in QuickBooks Online. And you go to the Report Center, and you can start adding either custom or standard reports to a management report and save it. Put your logo on it, package that, and that's what you present to your client every month. What's really great about the management reports is I could say I want them published monthly. So when I run them each month, it's going to bring in the new report with the new data for that period. So it's another set it and forget it. So if you haven't explored the management reports in QuickBooks Online in any version, go ahead over there. Do it in your own books or your client's books, but try setting some of these up. And you can see these really beautiful report packages that you could build very quickly without any outside software. The cash flow planner. This is the one that's going to answer that question about can I afford something in the future? So this allows, it pulls QuickBooks Online data in, gives a trend of how cash flow, money in, money out, what happened, and then it's trying to predict what's going to happen in the future based on accounts receivable, accounts payable, buying trends in the past, revenues in the past, and it's kind of guessing what the cash flow is going to be. Further, as I said before, you can add scenarios on top of this saying, I do want to purchase a piece of equipment. What's cash going to look like if I do that? So those are all features within QuickBooks Online that I just spoke about. The cash flow planner, you should know, is not available if your client has turned on the multi-currency feature. So it will not show up. But other than that, you can use this. And this is another really powerful tool. Again, you could open this with the client and start doing those scenarios. now you're advising, you're helping them make decisions, you're giving them the information they need to make that decision. So it's just a powerful, powerful tool. And I suggest you get into the cash flow planner and try it out. Okay, if that's not good enough, we also have other reporting options. You can go to apps.com. There are lots of apps that connect to QuickBooks Online. We'll pull the data over and create different dashboards, cash flow projections, forecasts, all kinds of things. So I've put 6 of some of the top popular ones there. Each one of those names for each of those apps is a clickable link to the apps. .com website or the App Store where you can learn a little bit more about it. So all of them do budgets, some of them do cash flow projections, some do KPIs, which is key performance indicators, meaning I want to track a certain thing for my client, like when undeposited funds gets over $10,000, I want to get an alert on that. It will let me know. So those are KPIs, and you also with KPIs you can set goals. I want revenue for this line item on the chart of accounts to be X next month. It will tell me if we'll track that, and it'll let me know if we've reached our goal. Custom report packages, if you don't want to use the management reports in QBO, so these other apps have report packages that you can build. Forecasts for some of them do multi-company consolidation. I mentioned the one for QuickBooks Advanced, but if your client has some companies in Plus and some in QBO and even some in desktop, these outside apps can then consolidate all those no matter what the platform is. So again, research with the app developer to see what other programs they support. And in some cases, you can bring in Excel data for non-financial KPI tracking. And then industry benchmarking, and then of course alerts. We want to get alerted if something is not going the way we want, and that's a way for us to help our clients and keep them informed if something's going wrong. Okay, so go to the App Store and check those out. And that is my quick 10,000-foot view of apps and what's available in QuickBooks Online. And hopefully that's kind of given you some ideas of things you can do, your next steps, and where that will go. So let's talk about kickstarting your digital advisory services. So just one last slide here. Your knowledge is your power. You're already creating all these financial reports either in QuickBooks Online, and you want to go through them and give your knowledge to the client. Don't just reconcile their bank account. So choose a set of reports. Start with 4 or 5. You don't have to do them all. Choose 3 or 4 or 5, whatever your client needs. Start answering those questions. You can always build on that afterward. And then set up those report packages. They auto-populate each month, usually in an app as well as in QuickBooks Online management reports. Ask your clients what keeps them up at night. Can you build a chart or a KPI in QuickBooks Online that's going to help answer that question? They could click through and look at the chart every day when they go into QuickBooks Online. Do they have goals? Ask them. They might have a goal to make X amount this year. What can we do? We'll set that target, track that KPI, maybe change what products they're selling and switch out to the top sellers. Add these custom reports, all of them, to the report package. Provide those insights and those knowledge, and let the reports, again, deliver that message for you. You're just going to talk to them about what's going on. So having knowledge is the cornerstone of reputation and influence, and therefore that is your power. Nothing's holding you back from showing off your hidden superpower. Just give your knowledge to your clients, and then you're gonna be the most powerful advisor there is. But start small if you're just getting started. A couple of reports you're comfortable with, and then you're off and running. So thank you all so much for joining me for this session from certification to success and finding your inner superhero. I'm Erin Walsh Dyer. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.